You are Locked On Rams Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Say it with me, folks. Whose house? Rams house. What is going on, Ramley? There are no words. There are no words. What's going on, Ramley? And welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Rams Postcast, coming at you live, as always, on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel and after the fact, wherever you get the Locked On Rams podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, let me just get the heck out of the way so we can talk about this darn game. I'm Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist in the LA area, was covering UCLA sports with the Daily Bruin, now part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Our team is the Rams, and our Rams survive and win arguably the greatest offensive shootout we have seen in NFL history. And I will defend that outlandish statement shortly. But we saw two offenses that could not be stopped, two quarterbacks who were unbelievable. We saw the MVP candidate who may have boosted his MVP chances in a loss in Josh Allen, doing something that's never been done before. We saw two offenses combined to create an offensive shootout that has never happened before in NFL history. And despite all of it, despite the Rams defense looking pretty abysmal for most of the game, despite looking like we were going to blow a three-score lead at one point, the Rams survive thanks to Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Kyren Williams, and oh, by the way, a greatly improved offensive line to move to 7-6, to stay right in the hunt for the NFC West, and to make a statement on national TV, right? This was the game of the week. And the Rams made a statement. Before we talk about this huge win, this unbelievable game, and all of the implications, quick shout out first and foremost to everybody in here. I see comments just streaming in. We'll get to them throughout this game. I see BC, I see Craig, I see Daniel Barry, I see Whelan Migo, I believe. I see all sorts of people. I see new faces here. So shout out to everybody here. Also, quick shout out to the sponsor of today's show. It is Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code, all lowercase, LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5. Now, the goal here is always to come in with the number one headline, the number one takeaway to start the show. But there can't be any other takeaway other than, what an unbelievable game. What an unreal game. I mean, the score doesn't even do it justice, and the score is 44-42. I mean, there has not been a game like this for the Rams since that Chiefs Monday Night Football thriller, back when it was Jared Goff and Sean McVay against Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid at the LA Coliseum. That was, I think, 50-something to something close to that. An unreal shootout both ways. I mean, some of the stats here, video game numbers. How about the Bills having less total yards with 445 because the Rams have 457? Unbelievable. Josh Allen, to, just say what happened, he could not be stopped. The man was unreal. 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. Felt like every single time. This is what I say about Josh Allen in this game, and it really throughout the season. It feels like if Josh Allen throws a 3-yard slant, like if he throws the ball immediately, that is a win. Because it feels like the longer the ball is in his hand, the likelihood of a massive play for the Bills goes up. Whether it's him running for his life behind the line of scrimmage, whether it's him running over people, past people, around people, 20 yards past the line of scrimmage, whether it's him 30 yards right of the pocket and then flinging it across his body, getting drilled for roughing the passers and everything. It feels like if Josh Allen snaps the ball, even if he completes a 6-yard pass, on many plays, that might be a win. Because as long as the ball isn't in his hands, you're celebrating as a defense. He's unbelievable. Like I said, he might have boosted his MVP candidacy in this loss. Like I said, first player ever, 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. Now, to defend the statement on why the crazy statement on this being maybe the greatest shootout in NFL history, not only do both teams combine for 5 rushing touchdowns and 5 passing touchdowns, the first time ever, I believe was the stat according to Fox, but also the first time ever, 2 teams score at least 40 without a turnover. It was just an offensive clinic on both sides and in such different ways. And that's what makes this game so fun, right? You have one side where, like I said, the longer the ball's in Josh Allen's hands, the better it is for the Bills, even if he's running like a chicken with his head cut off behind the line of scrimmage. Because he can do what he did multiple times. I mean, the first drive of the game for the Bills should have been a 3-and-out, but Josh Allen rolls to his right, gets drilled on the sideline for roughing the passer. Whether it is or not, we can debate. Who really cares at this point? But the moral of the story is, every time he gets out of the pocket, you're losing. He scrambled for 30 or 40 yards multiple times. Ends with 10 carries for 82 yards. He had a 30-yard rush. He had 3 rushing touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns, like I've said a million times. And yet one of the biggest plays of the game is the Bills taking 2 QB sneaks for Josh Allen to score there at the end of the game instead of 1. And Tom Brady, I know people have been very critical of him in terms of his announcing debut. And there were times today where he couldn't pronounce anybody's name correctly. There was times where his voice sounded like he'd been yelling like a fan. To be fair, he does get excited up there in the booth. But his voice was gone. He was mispronouncing names. But he was spot on at the end of the game. The Bills lost that game when on 1st and goal from the inch line, they go QB sneak and not get it. Bills have 3 timeouts. There's over a minute to play. If the Bills score a touchdown, they're punting it or they're booting it deep, kicking it off deep to the Rams. Rams got 3 plays. They're going to run the ball 3 times. The Bills are going to call 3 timeouts. We see if the Rams get the first down. Who knows? But if they don't, we're punting it back to Josh Allen and company with like 45 seconds left to go win the game on a field goal, which is very realistic based on how this game went in so many ways. But as Brady correctly pointed out, as a lot of smart NFL fans were probably yelling at their TV saying, Sean McDermott, Joe Brady and the Bills coaching staff and Josh Allen, all of them, they decide to trust the QB sneak on 1st and goal. They don't get it, and they burn a timeout. They burn a timeout, which burns the opportunity to boot it deep. They have to go onside kick. Rams get the onside kick. Rams win the football game. So how ironic that Josh Allen, the power of him as a massive human being that can run the ball, they don't have a tush push, but they have their own variant of it. And maybe if they had a true tush push, they get it on 1st and goal, and they don't have to do an onside kick. But how ironic that despite Josh Allen being Superman, he didn't do anything wrong today, except it took him 2 tries to get an inch in the final minute of the game, and that helped save the Rams' season. Now, enough about Josh Allen. We talked a little bit about the game as a whole. 40 points apiece, no turnovers, first time ever. 5 passing and rushing touchdowns each, first time ever. Josh Allen, 3 passing, 3 rushing, first time ever. But the Rams just do it a completely different way than Josh Allen being Superman. They do it with the brilliance of Sean McVay, with the brilliance of Matthew Stafford. But also, I think the biggest difference between us and them is our wide receivers, man. And we know it. But for the national audience to be reminded of it, credit to Josh Allen. He's doing it with Khalil Shakir and a partially washed Amari Cooper and a, journeyman in Mac Hollins. But we got Puka, Nacua, and Cooper Kupp, all right? And Puka, Nacua, in case anybody was doubting it, he's a bad man, as Stephen A. would like to say, right? 12 catches, 162 yards, and a touchdown, 14 targets. You get 12 catches on 14 targets. You have that unbelievable toe tap on the sideline early in the game. You have an unbelievable catch on, I think, the Rams' second touchdown drive. You have the dagger touchdown on the quick screen where most players probably get the first down, but special players make it a touchdown. Puka Nacua is one of those guys. Whether it's across the middle, whether it's behind the line of scrimmage, whether it's on the sideline, whether it's deep, whether it's drawing pass interferences, everything, whether it's quick slants. Puka Nacua did it all. Cooper Kupp set records with his game, just receptions. He had 5 for 92 and a touchdown as well. Tutu Atwell from Matthew Stafford, arguably the most underrated play of this game, will be that 4th down, where the play is clearly, like Tom Brady pointed out before the snap, once again, he had his moments where he was good. Cooper, Kupp, and Puka Nacua on the bottom of the screen. 4th and 5. Stafford takes a snap. He looks right. There's no doubt, right? He's going to his right. He's looking. I think he wanted either Cooper, I can't say the two names back to back. He either wanted Cooper Kupp on the sideline, or the main throw was Puka Nacua running a quick slant, but they took it out. The linebacker doubled on the slant from Puka, and so then what does Stafford do? He quickly looks back across the middle. Tutu Atwell cooks their DB wide open across the middle. Stafford sidearm slings it. First down, huge first down to help the Rams move the chains and eventually go score the dagger touchdown. That almost didn't end up being the dagger touchdown, but that was a huge play. Just so many little, it's impossible to go play by play when Kyren has 29 carries. Stafford completes 23 of his 30 passes. Stafford throws for 320 and 2 touchdowns. Kyren Williams runs for 2 touchdowns. There's too many plays to even point out, right? We're not going to try to point every single one of them out, but that 4th down conversion to Tutu Atwell will be underrated in this whole game. And another thing we cannot forget before we take our first break, of course, is the punt block touchdown. Because at that moment, the Rams and Bills looked like they were headed for a 7-7, 14-7, 14-14, 21-14, 21-21 type of game, right? But it wasn't until in the second quarter the Rams pulled away, got a lead early because of that punt block, because of the Rams getting the occasional stop. That was the difference at the end of the day. Because despite the Bills outscoring the Rams in the second half, despite the Bills outscoring the Rams 21-6 in the fourth quarter, plays like that punt block return for a touchdown early on, the Jordan Whittington kickoff returns, getting good field position, right? All of that, the no turnovers, all of it. You forget about it because it happened in the first and second quarter, and you only remember the failed QB sneak on first down, the 4th down conversion to Tutu Atwell. But the Rams being ahead in this game, throughout the game, is why they won. It's not really about what they did in the fourth quarter. It's what they did in the first half. And we'll definitely go into greater detail. Like I say there on the slide there, it's all about getting ahead in multiple ways. And I'll explain what the heck I mean by that. Because I'm not just talking about getting ahead on the scoreboard. Getting ahead in multiple ways. I'll talk about that after our first break here on the Locked On Rams Postcast. Now, today's show is brought to you first and foremost by Hillsdale College. Time is our most precious commodity, so don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How can you spend your time wisely to improve yourself? Whether it's history, economics, the great works of literature, the meaning of the U.S. Constitution, maybe these are things you studied in school, but it's time for a refresher, right? So time and technology have changed a lot of things, but they have not changed basic fundamental truths about the world and our place in it. So with Hillsdale College, our sponsor, they're offering more than 40 free online courses, including, just to name a few, Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Republic, and a brand new documentary-style course on Marxism, Socialism, and Communism. All of Hillsdale College's courses are self-paced so that you can start whatever, whenever, and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or just enjoy the lectures. So go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register. hillsdale.edu/lockedon. And today's show is also brought to you, of course, by Prize Picks. If you love watching the game, you're going to love Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. Whether it's football, basketball, or any of your favorite sports, Prize Picks makes your holidays bigger and brighter. So here's why you need to check it out. You can now win up to 200 times your money on Prize Picks. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away $30 million in rewards during Picksmas and offering 2 free picks in December. And when your picks hit, Prize Picks makes it easy to cash out. You can get your money in as fast as 15 minutes, which, trust me, is very, very different. Very different from other apps. For example, this week, I'm looking at tonight, Travis Kelce to go for more than 70 receiving yards and Lamar Jackson to throw more than 250 yards. It's quick, simple, and so much fun to challenge myself and my friends. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly when you play just $5. Prize Picks, run your game. Back here live on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Rams Postcast. Our Rams are victorious in an unbelievable game, 44-42, the first ever game in which both teams score 40-plus points without a turnover. First game where there's 5 rushing and 5 passing touchdowns for each team. First game where a guy runs for 3 and throws for 3 in Josh Allen, and yet he loses because the Rams got ahead in multiple ways in this game. And let me explain. Of course, like I was hinting at the end of the first segment, they got ahead on the scoreboard. And in case you forgot how, the Rams marched down the field on their opening drive, go 70 yards in 6.5 minutes. Great balance. Kyren Williams, Puka Nacua, Kyren Williams, Demarcus Robinson, just going, or Puka Nacua again, just going all over the place. Kyren, Puka, and then Kyren for 3 for the touchdown. Bills come all the way back. They score, Rams go down, they get a field goal, and like I said, the turning point was when it's 10-7 and it looks like it's going to be teams scoring back and forth. Not only do you get 3 and out, but then you block a punt, you return it for a touchdown, and just like that, you're up 10. So that even when the Bills score 70 yards in 4 plays, you're still up 3, you go score, back and forth, we know how the game went, right? So of course, getting ahead in terms of the actual score, something the Rams have not done really at all this season. Brady and, I'm blanking on the other guy's name, they called it out throughout this game saying the Rams never get ahead, the Bills rarely trail, and finally the Rams got ahead, and that was huge, of course. We never get to see Sean McVay. There's so much debate amongst the Rams fans. Do we run the ball enough? Do we rely on the pass too much? Do we get too cute? We got to see the Rams ahead for once. And still with the threat of Josh Allen scoring every time he touched the ball, but we got to see the Rams ahead. We got to see Blake Corum have like 5 carries on the second drive of the game because our offense is already churning. We got to see the Rams make smart decisions on 3rd downs and 4th downs, despite knowing Josh Allen's on the other side, because we're not down 10 points, we're up 10 points, right? So it was very refreshing to see the Rams ahead for once on the scoreboard. But the main thing I want to talk about in terms of getting ahead was getting ahead of the sticks. 1st and 2nd down. We know the Rams have been so bad on 3rd downs, so bad. And everybody loves to say, okay, the Rams are terrible on 3rd down. Let's go watch all the 3rd down plays and see what happens. And they see a bunch of 3rd and 8s where Stafford gets sacked, or 3rd and 9s where we throw it for 6 yards but get tackled short, or the occasional 3rd and 2 where the run to Kyren gets stuffed, or stuff like that, tip balls on the line of scrimmage. Yeah, of course. You can say the Rams are doing bad on 3rd down and go look at that. But that's not the point of this show, to just look at a play basically and say what happens, right? It's to think deeper. And if you're a smart football fan, like I know the people watching this show are, you know that the reason the Rams were one of the worst teams in the NFL on 3rd down was not because the Rams couldn't convert 3rd and 2s, because we know they can. Whether it's the quick string to Puka Nacua, like we saw at the end of the game, on the all-out blitz from the Bills. Whether it is the occasional QB sneak from Matthew Stafford, or the 1-yard run to Kyren, or the end around to Puka, or the Cooper Kupp quick slant, or even the 4th and 5 to Tutu Atwell. It's not that the Rams can't convert on 3rd and shorts. It's that the Rams are always in 3rd and long, and their offensive line is setting the team back. The reason the Rams won this game today is because they kept Matthew Stafford clean. He was not sacked in the game. That is the reason. Despite how good Stafford was, despite how good Puka was, despite how good Cooper Kupp was, the offensive line arguably had its best game of the year. And that is why they won this game. Because they were ahead of the sticks. It was Kyren for 4, Kyren for 6 on 1st down. And even if it wasn't, even if it was Kyren for 1, there was time for Stafford to throw the ball on the 3rd and longs, right? You can be basic and look at all the 3rd and 8s earlier in the season. And like I said, see that Stafford's being sacked. And see that there were plenty of 3rd and longs. I mean, look at the first drive of the game. You lose 3 yards on the first play of the game. But then 2nd and 13, Stafford hits Nacua for 12. How many times would it be 2nd and 13, Stafford sacked, 3rd and 20, right? And then it says that the Rams are horrible on 3rd downs, but it's because it's 3rd and 18 because you got sacked on 2nd down. There were no sacks on 2nd down. There were no 1st and 20s, 2nd and 20s or 3rd and 10s because there weren't sacks. There weren't sacks. There weren't many, negative runs despite starting the game with 1. There were not negative plays. And when there are not negative plays, and you've got an offensive mind as good as Sean McVay, a quarterback as good as Matthew Stafford, receivers as good as Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Come on, man. You see what this team can do when the offensive line is average. I'll give them credit. Today they were above average. Bills are a great defense, and Stafford was untouched, and the Rams put up 42 points. So obviously the offensive line gets an A+ today. But even if the line has performances where they get B+ or Bs, the Rams are going to win games most of the time because they are too good offensively, mentally, and physically, talent-wise and strategy-wise. You just got to block. And not just the run game. Today, the pass blocking was great. Instead of 2nd and 12s, it was 2nd and 7s. Instead of 3rd and 9s, it was 3rd and 4s. And even on the occasional 3rd and 9, we were converting. I mean, look at the last drive of the game for the Rams once again. I mean, not counting the 3-play punt. It's 3rd and 7. We get a hold. The Bills elect to call the holding, which I thought was the wrong decision. And I'm not just using hindsight. Normally I'm pro that. But in this game, with all the touchdowns being scored by both teams, the Bills decline that penalty. It's 4th and 7, and we're kicking a 54-yard field goal with Josh Riccardi. And who knows if we're making that thing? Who knows? Right? Instead, the Bills elect to take the penalty. They force a 3rd and 16 because maybe the Rams of the past get a 3rd and 16 and Stafford gets sacked. But not today. Perfectly called. 4 verts, clear out all the zones, have the tight end, Parkinson, slip underneath. He fights for 11. 4th and 5, Rams elect to go for it, and I've talked multiple times about what they did on 4th and 5. But it's plays like that sum up how good this team can be when they're not in 3rd and long situations, because when they do get the occasional 3rd and long situation, look what they can still do. But if it's 3rd and long every time, it's not going to happen, right? So offensive line gets a ton of credit. McVay, the play calling, get a ton of credit, and the Rams stayed ahead. Not only on the scoreboard, but ahead of the sticks. And that's why they won the game, period. So when we come back from this one, we'll talk about the defense a little bit more. I feel like we didn't talk about the defense much because why would you in a game like this? But we'll talk about the defense, and we'll talk about the road ahead because the Rams, someone called me out here. Alexander rightfully called me out and said, I recall your prediction. I did predict that we would lose this game. Actually, I don't know if I did. Now, remind me, Alexander. Remind me what I predicted, because now I don't even know. Remind me. I think he's saying that I predicted we would lose. And if so, fair enough. But the moral of the story is, most people predicted we would lose. Obviously, the Bills were 10-2. Bills were 10-2. But the Rams, this was not the game we were supposed to win to make the push in the NFC West. And yet we did. And so we're 7-6. And so we're still in the NFC West hunt. And now it's looking like it is going to be us and the Seahawks. Of course, the Cardinals have something to say about that. But it feels like we have leaped the Cardinals in terms of NFC West race. And we'll talk about that more after our last break here on the Locked On Rams Postcast. Now, finally, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get the hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Back here live one more time on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel, and we are going to, here on the Locked On Rams Postcast, talk about the Rams push for the NFC West because it is very much live. The Rams now, I think they're the second favorite, right? I think, of course, the Seahawks are still the favorite. They were really impressive in this game. I mean, not only did they jump out ahead of the Cardinals, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the Seahawks came in at 7-5. The Cardinals came in at 6-6. The two went head-to-head. The Seahawks were up like 17-7 at one point. I think it was 28-10 at one point. Cardinals tried to stick around, but the Seahawks hold on in Arizona 30-18. Now, I do think we wanted the Cardinals to win that game, because if the Cardinals win that game, they're 7-6. The Seahawks are 7-6. We're 7-6. Excuse me. But because of what happened, Seahawks stay a half game ahead of the Rams. They're 8-5. We're 7-6. I'm not too worried about that because we play them. All right, we play them, and so it's like I said, it was always going to come down to us beating the Seahawks and us beating the Cardinals, regardless. But now, because you beat the Rams, dare I say, you can lose one of these next two. You can lose one of the next two against the Niners or the Jets. You got 2 road games at San Francisco, at the Jets, and then you go Cardinals, Seahawks. You can lose one of those 2 games against the Niners or Jets, in my opinion. Because if you're 8-7, going into Cardinals and Seahawks the final 2 weeks, of course you got to win those 2 games. You'd be 10-7. Seahawks are going to lose that game to us. I'm telling you right now, we're winning that game, right? And so that makes loss number 6 for them. Now, where does loss number 7 for the Seahawks come? Let's see what the remaining schedule is. Oh, yeah. In case you forgot, they got the Packers and the Vikings and the Bears. They're losing one of their next 2 against the Packers or Vikings. Duh. Come on now, please. So you lose one of those 2. You lose to the Rams. You got 7 losses. We've got 7 losses. Right? It's up there for anybody to take. The Cardinals aren't even out of it, of course. They're right there. The Niners technically aren't even out of it. They can run the table. They can be 10-7. They would beat the Rams and the Seahawks. Not the Rams, the Seahawks. They would beat the Rams and the Cardinals en route to doing that. So you can't even count the Niners out of winning the division. They absolutely destroy the Bears for most of the game today. I don't know what the final score ended up being. Let's see here. 38-13. They looked like the real Niners, despite McCaffrey being out for the season. So it's anyone's race, but the moral of the story is, boy, oh boy, do I love the Bills because they beat the Niners last week and we beat them this week. So we are right back in it, baby. We are right back in it. 7-6. Everything ahead of us. You got to win 3 of the last 4. 2 of those 3 wins have to be those final 2 games of the year. But now, I was saying you have to win 2 of the 3 between Bills, Niners, Jets. You already did one of those, and the hardest one in the Bills. Even if you split the next 2, Niners and Jets. Even if you split that. And I don't think you're going to split it, honestly. You're probably, I think you maybe say the Niners are a slight favorite in San Francisco, just because it's San Francisco, but maybe a point. Which means on a neutral site, I think you're taking the Rams right now because we just beat probably the second best team in football. But even if you lose that game to the Niners, you're definitely favored against the Jets, who look like dead men walking. They blew their best chance to win in a while there in Miami. And then you've got 2 must-win games against the Cardinals and Seahawks. So everything is ahead for the Rams. Their defense is going to have to play a little bit better, and that's where we'll end with this one. Of course, you're going against Josh Allen. You didn't expect much. But there were a lot of open guys throughout this game. And not just open guys when Josh Allen was rolling out and creating, time. Shakir catching a 6-yard hitch route in the middle of the zone. Spot route, in the middle of the zone, turning around and then running it all the way to the end zone. Being untouched for 30 yards and then breaking horrible tackle attempts. That can't happen, right? Getting pass interference anytime the Bills throw the ball deep. That can't happen. And the secondary is the weakness. We didn't get to Josh Allen at all either. So, of course, when we can't get to their quarterback with how bad our secondary is, it's bad news, right? It's bad news. But so much of that is because we wanted to contain Josh Allen. We didn't do a great job of doing that. But that's why you didn't sack him as much. You did shut down James Cook. Got to get a lot of credit for that. That showed the talent of the front 7. I think the defense is still going to be okay. And if you look at the matchups coming ahead, going against the Niners, I think we match up okay. They're not this big 60-yard bomb down the field team like the Bills are. So our secondary is not going to be tested as much. And I think we can corral Brock Purdy. And I think we can contain the run game because of our front 7. So I like our matchup there. The Jets, love our matchup, period. Okay? I need to see something from the Jets before I'm scared of them. And then honestly, Cardinals, Seahawks, 2 teams that like to run the football, go play action. Kyler Murray's going to run all over the place as well. He's got talented receivers. We know the Seahawks do as well. Those games scare me a little bit because DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith-Njigba and Tyler Lockett going against our secondary, that's scary. Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't have a lot of help around him in their wide receiving core. Trey McBride, I guess, but still. Scared of Marvin Harrison Jr. against our secondary. We saw what happened last time we played them. So those are scary matchups. The next 2 weeks, though, I'm liking our defense to be better. And we know our offense has proved that it is back, baby. It is back. It's one of the best in football, and it will keep us in every game. Even if our defense doesn't play well, it will keep us in every game. So with that being said, we're going to wrap this one up here on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel, the Locked On Rams Postcast. The Rams win, baby. 44-42 at SoFi over the MVP candidate Josh Allen and his 6 touchdowns. 44-42. The Rams are 7-6. They're second in the NFC West, and they got the Niners next week on Thursday Night Football. You know where to be right after that game ends, right here, live on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. I'm Gavin Carlson, signing out one more time. Whose house? Rams house, baby. I'll see you guys next Thursday night for Niners, Rams. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to everybody in here, as always. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good rest of your Sunday, and enjoy that Chiefs-Chargers game right now. Take care, everybody. Go Rams.